What's going on, people? It is Sunday, the 12th of April today, 2026. The day before I turn 22, my birthday's tomorrow, which is absolutely insane. If I'm being 100% honest, I'm more scared than happy. It's crazy how, when I was younger, I used to get so excited for my birthday, especially even the day before. But now, it's almost like shit. I can't believe I'm turning 22 and I'm still not in the position where I want to be yet. And I know, ultimately you need to be able to enjoy life because you're not going to be here forever. But I can't help but thinking that way. um, so, yeah. Well, what's going on? Well, I mean, whenever I make these videos, it's pretty much just updates of what's going on. I ideally like to make videos whenever I've got a property across the line or something, significant has happened. So I'm able to share the success, share the profit increase. And, because the goal was to be able to make it to 5K, that is still the goal. So I will still put the price on, what it is here. Most likely, well, I'll just get into the bits and bobs of what's going on. So, of course, at the minute, I've got two businesses. So I've got my social housing business, which it what is that? Oh, it's just I don't even know. It's a social housing business. So it's working with the council. Well, so ideally, I started working with the council and registered providers to be able to do the rent to rent with them, which I'll go more into, and then the short term rental cleaning company. So ideas, what's going on so far? So, as you may be aware, explained it in the previous video, but I'll explain it again. The council that I'm working with two councils at the minute for temporary accommodation, and and I'm working with providers to be able to rent the property from the landlord to the provider and make the profit in the middle. So after doing that for over near enough a year now, I've come to a conclusion that I learned this a bit earlier on, and that working with providers, for me personally, is a waste of time. I found multiple HMOs, secured multiple HMOs, and being able to make the margin between the provider and yourself. And not only is it hard to be able to increase the rent, but more so, it's not scalable because a lot of providers will just take the piss, and that's what's happened with me. And for me, as much as I want to be able to make as much money as possible, the thing which I'm more happy about, where in position that I'm in now, is yes, the money, but more so the fact that I have a vision of how I'm able to scale. That's always what I wanted to do. Now, of course, there are some, some catalysts to that. Being that it's hard to be able to do so, but I'm not an advocate for saturation, or it's just hard to be able to do so. I know that if you keep going, the results are inevitable. So, and that's something that I've learned, but. Going back to that, providers I don't work with no more. I work with the council for one temporary accommodation, which is hard to be able to get into. But I get myself, other people have got through with temporary accommodation. It's possible, you can do it. It's hard to be able to get in, but I've done it. I'm doing it twice. My representative for one of the councils has left unexpectedly, leaving me in a very vulnerable position. I have three properties with them, and the two biggest scary things is one property that I have is currently vacant, which is the fourth one. That's not been filled for 3 months, so I've just called the landlord and basically explained the situation, and he's happy for me to be able to give it back. Well, not happy, but he's comfortable with me giving it back. But there still is a world in which the council do get back to me and resolve this issue using this property for temporary accommodation, and building that new relationship with the new representative and able to scale a lot further, which I'm holding out for, of course. But that's a very vulnerable position that I'm in, because obviously the second reason is that I don't know if I'm able to sustain the relationship, and I might have to give the properties back. The other council that I'm working with at the minute is going well so far. I've got two with them. My representative said there was a few problems with the payment, but it's not too much of a problem, because it will be rectified. And then it's working with the council with two other ways. Well, there's more other ways, but specifically in the realm of what I'm doing, not being my own RP, registered provider or housing association. It's working with the council for shared houses. So namely, turning 3 beds into 4 beds, or 4 bed houses turn into HMOs, and using, and letting the council put in ex-offenders, homeless, asylum seekers, whatever, specific type of clientele they're using. You're negotiating with the council to be able to do that. LHA, but it's, and I'm putting these onto some game here. If anyone watches this, it's working with either people that are over the age of 35, or in my case, people that have been homeless for more than 3 months. So instead of getting this shared LHA rate, you get the one bed LHA rate. And then if you add a universal credit top up that the people pay themselves, then you're able to make a big margin, not a big margin, but a good margin. Depending on the council, you could make a big margin. And, plus the incentives that the council will pay. Incentives can just be like a deposit, or they might call it a bond, and then upfront rent, which is amazing. And I'm currently working with a council where they're setting me up as a supplier for that. Problem with that is I've just realised that within this area, Article 4s came into place in January the 1st, which I wasn't made aware of. Article 4 basically doesn't allow you to be able to turn a 3-bed or 4-bed into a HMO without planning permission, which of course just completely ruins the strategy, because planning permission isn't guaranteed. It takes ages. So I'm not too sure if it's 100% out the window, because I do know people that do it. You might be able to make a margin with a 3-bed potentially, depending on what the Article 4, it's normally 4 beds need planning permission, but it might be 5 beds. I'm not too sure. But yeah, that direction is in place for this specific council. And then the other way within this within this sector is family houses and apartments. So basically individuals, and essentially making sure there's a top up. So it's the LHA, whether you turn 3 beds into 4 beds, and you're able to get a 4-bed rate for a 3-bed house, and then the council pay like a top up. I think it's called like DPS. I don't know what it's called, but the council pay a top up for 12 months. And then if you're able to meet your return on investment back, and the council's still paying the top up, then there could be a world in which the tenants are able to pay the top up. If they're not paying the top up, then you can just do a 12-month agreement with an option to extend. And if the council options happy to extend for another 12 months, then you're making that £200 margin. It's not a lot, but you're able to scale. And that's basically the strategies that you're able to do it with. And then it's basically rinsing and repeating these types of methods with every single council you're happy to be able to go. It's every single location you're happy to be able to go to, as long as obviously you get that relationship. So I'm in Manchester. I'm happy to travel at a max 3 hours, maybe more in the future. I'm not too sure. But, it is a pain in the ass to be able to go 3 hours there and back. However, if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, if you're able to get a property that's £600 profit, and you're able to scale in that area, and let's say you get 3, 4, 5 properties, so 5 times 600, I'm an absolute fucking mong. But I believe that's, it's not 1,200. Wait, I'm actually a mong. Wait, 5 times 6. Wait, I'm actually a mong. Wait, I'm actually a mong. That's 3,000. That's 3,000. Yo, no, I promise you, I'm not that bad at maths. I was just on the spot there. So 3,000. So am I happy to be able to travel a 6-hour commute for £3,000 a month? Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? So you have to look at it through that method, for that point of view. But then again, it's getting with the councils for that specific strategy. However, this is what I know so far. So I'm always open to learning more. I'll have conversations with people, of course, in my academy, people that I know. I'm supposed to be having a meeting with a guy next week and putting our heads together to see different strategies and learning off one another. But the thing to remember is you're in this for life. So once you understand it, it's just a case of rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. I send mass emails out to every single council within the 3 hours distance. I used to send it out eight a day, but I started to realize that actually makes the council not want to work with you, because it classes as spam. So I send two a week, and I call the councils individually every single day. And it's just a case of just once you understand it and you know exactly what you're doing. And obviously there's a whole side of the property side of things which you need to be able to be comfortable with the correct agreements and stuff like that. But for building those relationships, that's all you can really do. And so when I put this into perspective, it can take a while. And obviously the relationships I've got now are amazing. I'm building that. I'm kind of stagnant with those at the minute, because I'm not really, I can't really chase for those properties. What being be in that situation with the council the representative leaving, and B being I've been told to put a pause on just to make sure I'm getting paid, and I'm still being set up as a supplier and still working. So I'm just pushing to be able to work with more councils. I've had some meetings. Oh, also I forgot to be able to mention another thing which I need to be able to look into. I'm just going to make a note of this, is tenders. Now, from what I'm understanding, is tenders are basically contracts that the council give, and you're basically essentially a bid for them. So it's like a budget that the council give to you to be able to have houses and place vulnerable people inside of them, and of course you're able to make your margin. Now that is something that I need to look into more about tenders, because I used to believe that tenders only apply to RPs, which are registered providers, people that provide the care as well as the house, and or I'm not too sure housing associations, but I believe just RPs. But I understand now they apply to people that aren't registered providers, that aren't CQC regulated, which is what one of my mentors has done. He's won a bid in a council in Manchester, and he's supposed to, I don't know exactly how it works, so I'm going to ask him what next mentor call. What's his name now? Forgot his name, but yeah. And I need to learn about that. And then further to that is becoming your own RP, registered provider, or a housing association. Now, these are all in the summary, or the umbrella, should I say, of social housing. So that's a complete different model to be able to understand. It has similarities, of course, because you're still working with the council, you're still finding the property, but I think in more so you're providing the care, or housing associations different. And so that's something that I am open to learning about, especially being in the business of social housing already. But it's not something I'm going to take lightly, because I've heard from a lot of people that it is hard. Obviously, I'm not really asked about it being hard, because I live for hard. I live for anything hard, because especially if someone's able to make money in it, then I want to be able to make money in it too. And as much as these providers are doing well to be able to support people, they're caring, they're ultimately doing it to be able to make a living and make money. And I've always seen myself as being a manager, having a team around me and stuff like that. So that is something that I'm gonna learn and understand, and see if it's something. I don't want to say it's something I can do. I can do anything. Anything that anyone else can do, I can do. Just need to put my mind to it. But how and which way, and if I really want to be able to do so. So that was a long talk about that, but days like this, you need to be able to have these long talks, and these are the reasons why I make these videos. One, because obviously in the future I'm able to look back. Two, because people are able to have a look and see what I'm talking about and see how they're able to make money or whatnot. And three, because it's for my own sanity, to be able to have these conversations and these talks inside of my head sometimes makes me go insane. So to be able to have a camera that I'm able to just talk into, it makes me feel a little less insane. So yeah, that's what's going on. That's my plan. Furthermore, the short-term rental cleaning. So I started this, and just off an idea, I had a burning feeling inside of my stomach. I wanted to be able to give myself the most opportunity possible to be able to be successful. I created the business, and now it's time for outreach. I've done a little bit of outreach. I've been very, how do I say, I've been procrastinating a bit. And that's mainly because there's been a wave of doubt recently, bleeding from the property side of things into this, making me think, oh fucking hell, this and that and that. And also when the doubt comes, obviously it makes you think, oh, is it best to be able to do this? One thing that I'll just say right now is I've learned this off a guy on YouTube who was talking about it. I forgot his actual name, but he said two things that stuck with me, and I'm probably going to carry with me the rest of my life. He said, based on how you've been feeling or what you've been thinking in the past 2-3 weeks, let's say 2 weeks for example, is how you're gonna see your life in the future. And to give you an example of that, if something completely terrible has happened to you, or this deal has fell through, sorry, You know, you've had to give a property back, you know, you've lost money. By the 14th day, the 2 week period, you're going to have a vision on life that, oh my God, this is going to be hard. You know, you're going to have lots of doubt. You're going to be, you don't see a world in which you're able to be successful, and you see it as if it's like a chance or something like that. But if everything's been going good for you these past 2 weeks, like you've been able to get a deal across the line, this has been good, you know, you've been able to make some money, then by that 14-day mark, you see life completely different, the opposite. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to be successful. This is going to happen. Like, I can't wait to tell people. And so when I started to understand that, the bottom line is obviously not to think too much, just to stay in the present. Don't think too much about the future, because none of which it is actually true, none of which actually applies to anything. It's if anything, it just creates overthinking for yourself. Obviously, it's great to have happy thoughts, but just to be able to have that, be mindful of this for whenever you are doubtful, because you never know, in a month's time, 2 months time, a new idea comes and that applies, and now that is what you think is your future. And I'm always open to new opportunities, whether it's in this business, because I always say, I think I've said this previous videos, I used to say that if not this, then nothing else, but if not this, then something else. I am going to be successful because that is what is in my mind. As much as right now, my, situation is a bit iffy, based on me being honest and explaining my situation. I started out saying I was going to get to 5k a month. I am almost at my goal, or would have been at my goal almost, yeah, if I was able to get that property filled. And it's still not to say that I'm still not able to grow and get more properties. Of course I am. So, and I genuinely never thought not genuinely never thought, sorry, that's a complete, I should not have even said that. I genuinely, of course, I wasn't 100% sure that I was going to get to that 5k a month mark, because that was a lot of money for myself. But I wanted to go that full. I wanted to say, I want to be able to achieve this because that's what I'm going to be happy with. That's going to make me feel like I can't believe this is happening. And I'm almost there. And, it basically happened. Do you know what I mean? So basically what I'm trying to say to you is, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent here, but basically, the results, and this is the second thing that I learned, the results are inevitable. If as long as you stay within the action and you stay within creating new ideas, still going out for the business, and essentially just doing, as you learn from David Goggins, you will be successful. There's not a world in which I don't believe that, and it would be a detrimental. It would be a what's the word now? It would be, I don't even know, shady, snide to myself to not be able to believe in this and stick at what I'm saying, basically. So yeah, the short-term rental cleaning. So yeah, so I've started the outreach process with that. I have had a realization there are still things I need to be able to work on, which is great, which I will learn through taking the action. Initially when you first take the action and you're not able to get something across the line because you have questions, and then you fuck it up, you think, oh my God, I've ruined that opportunity. But really, you've learned from it. So I've learned that my prices need to be more realistic. I've learned that realistically, the people that do have Airbnbs, the cleans aren't going to be as long as I think it would on paper, because it's going to be already pretty clean anyway. The people that get Airbnbs have most of the time a bit of money, middle class, so know how to be able to behave and act. Of course, if it does, get trashed and they take a deposit, they're able to pay for that. And there's a few bits and bobs that I need to be able to learn from and understand. And I have to be prepared to be able to do the own cleans myself if it comes to it, which is, again, a bit scary and stuff like that. But this is all part of my story. This is all part of my story for when I grow up and I'm able to tell my kids and I'm successful and I'm on a podcast and whatnot and be like, yeah, I did this. And, I made it, man. So it's part of my story, man. And it's exciting. It's exciting every single day. Every single day I wake up, well, not every single day, but for the most part, something exciting happens while being within this. There's no limit to my capability. There's no, you go to work, and this is in 5 years, I know I'll be able to get to this position. So when I come home, I'll just go out and do all this, because ultimately, as time goes by, and I'll be able to get here. No, it's like every single couple of months, it's exciting. Do you know what I mean? To know that I will potentially get into this position as long as I keep going. I will get into the position as long as I keep going. Um, yeah, that's what's going on. So there's not really too much on this at the minute. This is just something that I'm working on and taking massive action on. As I said, I was procrastinating a bit, so I will be taking action on that. And essentially, my aim is to get one across the line. There's many ways to be able to do so. And I've already been in communication with a bit, but there's still things I've got to be able to understand. Now that I've covered these two, which is amazing, I want to talk briefly about how I'm currently feeling in terms of, life. So, of course, I'm doing these two businesses, which is great, amazing. The reason why I'm doing the short-term cleaning company also as well, just to be able to add, is because with this property, now that I've understand how to be as most efficient as possible in it, and of course I'm still learning and stuff like that, I wanted to be able to create something for myself into that, to be able to give myself the most opportunities possible to be successful. So if I'm able to make more money and I have time available, then it would be ridiculous not for me not to act on an idea that is burning, right? But yeah, anyway, I think of examples of and I know this is an extraordinary example, but Mr. Beast, right? He is 27 years old and he has gone from, being broke to basically the first YouTube billionaire at the age of 27. Now, of course, he spent years and years and years understanding YouTube, and, and I still really want to watch an interview about him because I admire him. Do you know what I mean? But basically, the lesson I took from him is the fact that there are other ways in which I am able to be financially successful, because that's ultimately my goal. I want to do it through the most legal and ethical way, of course, but that is my most that is the ultimate goal, to be financially successful. I don't want to sugarcoat anything. I don't want to come across arrogant, but I do want to be rich. I'm not speaking to a friend. I'm not boasting or anything like that. I'm talking basically through my own thoughts, and I don't know why I have to explain that, but I just feel arrogant even saying so. And so that's why I want to give myself the most opportunities possible now while I'm young, to be able to uncover what is the other ways to be able to make money. I'm very much in the property area, the property space. I'm aware of strategies. I've been within this. I'm staying within this because I know that there's a view to be able to scale, as I just mentioned, and I am making money. It would be ridiculous to be able to stop now. But to be able to, because this is how I see it, right? There's people that in this life now, it has become a lot harder to be financially successful, or through the job market, through the normal process of going to uni, stuff like that, to be able to have a job like that. 100%. And a lot of people say, oh, this world is cooked, or this generation is cooked, but I would argue there is more opportunity now to be successful, whether it's even not financially, but to be able to achieve the dream, that the thing that you really want to be able to achieve, now more than ever. And you see it all the time on YouTube and Instagram, and I know people are gonna be, oh, well, you basing your information off of that? Yeah, because that's what Instagram and all these places allow us to be able to see people overseas and actual proof of people doing it. Now, it's not to say that everyone is says who they are. Do you know what I mean? And how much they're actually making. However, I've got to believe that some out of the many that do it are actually doing it. Do you know what I mean? I actually do it being financially successful, which is the goal. So I want to be able to give myself the most opportunities possible to be able to do that. And I don't want to look back in 10 years' time and be like, oh, I wish I did that. I want to be able to do it now and allow myself the time to be able to do that. I've come to a conclusion that my biggest fear is not so much failing. Well, that is one of my fears, but I wouldn't say it's the biggest, losing everything. It's more so giving up on what I truly believe in and having to settle with less. So basically giving up in everything that I believe in and having to go work a job that I hate. That's my biggest fear. That's my biggest fear. Not even the fact that I might lose 10 grand, 20 grand. Not the fact that, this business might completely go. The fact that I might have to do that for the rest of my life and lie to me. My biggest fear is people's dream. Well, not dream, but what people are currently doing, because I doubt it's people's actual dream. Do you know what I mean? For everyone. Some people, 100%, but I mean, in terms of, I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying. Let me stop chatting shit, but before I feel the need to be able to create a new video. But you get what I mean. And so this is why I think, okay, well, what's going to be the next best thing I'm thinking of, and it doesn't necessarily have to be on the biggest scale, but of course, if I do think of idea and it comes like that, then I'm not going to say no. But I'm thinking of like Uber. Uber wasn't around, you know, I don't even know how long ago, 10 years ago. All these like restaurant chains, I'm thinking like Crumble Cookies and all these different places, like software systems that aren't even as big as these companies. But I'm thinking of places like Breezeway, which I'm using for automation for Airbnb. All these different ways in which people are making money, which is unheard of on the mass scales, but heard of within communities, that is making so much money, generating so much income. And it's crazy to believe that there is an opportunity, that there is going to be more of these being created in the future. It's going to be the next best thing. People are going to be successful and all this stuff. And it's like, I need to be able to give myself the opportunity, the time to be able to come up with these ideas, because I'm comfortable in a sense of how I'm knowing how I'm going to expand now, which of course is going to be hard, but it's just a case of doing it until it happens. But in the interim of that, I have time. I have time. I have more time. I've created more time for myself to be able to do these type of things. And so, yeah, I know this is a lengthy video, but that is what I want to be able to do. Now, I can't really expand on that too much. That's pretty much just it. But me just saying that gives me that spark of like happiness and joy. The fact that I'm aware of now is the time to be able to do it, not in the future. And you never know. In 5 years' time, I could be from here to, you know, a fucking millionaire. You never know. You never know. Mr. Beast did it, so why not? Do you know what I mean? If I just came up with the next best thing, and 5 years is a long time. And I am so happy. And, you know, I often doubt myself. And this is just, everyone doubts themselves. But I always say, like, damn, man, like, I always think, damn, like, I could have potentially gone to uni and then you had that as a backup and then, you know, still done this business. But the truth is, obviously, that I couldn't have, because things would have drastically changed. But that's just what my mind tells me is doubt. So I'm so glad that even though I didn't make a penny in the first 2 years of property, and I did in like third year a bit, well, I did make a little bit of money, but I wasn't really successful and I struggled. And looking back at it now, that period of my life was sad, seems sad. But I'm so glad I didn't quit, because even if I quit that and decided to do something else, even though this business isn't specifically what I was trying to learn back then with deal sourcing and all that stuff, I'm so glad I did it, so I was able to get in this position. Yeah, and I want to be able to now do the exact same thing now, because I've built myself the mindset to be able to, and I know you can't see it, but, and I know I can't even explain it, but my mindset is so completely different, not only for the things that to be aware about, but just business wise, which has even allowed me to be able to create this short-term cleaning company so quickly and efficiently with less doubt than it would have initially, because I'm basically rinsing and repeating this method into this method. And I know I'm able to make money from it. It's just like, I need to be able to be comfortable and understand, well, most importantly, the scalability of it, and be able to put systems in place to make sure that ultimately I'm not doing the cleans, and, you know, I'm able to scale and the profit margins are going to be good, and there's going to be a sensible time for me to be able to increase the profit, and yeah, all that type of stuff, which I will uncover, and it's a new business for me to get into. But yeah, basically that's it. Talked about my two businesses, what I want to be able to achieve within these two. And then, well, not really, I've not really talked about it, but essentially I just want to be able to grow these two companies. I'm not really a big believer in 5-10 year goals. I'm a believer in, look, I want to be able to get a property across the line, calm, I want to be able to make some profit. And then over time, I will start to, you know, go over and see, you know, what my next goals are, you know, and I can look down a year's line. That's as far as I'd like to be able to see. So, yeah, man. I'm going to give myself the opportunity to be able to look at other methods, other ways in which to be able to be successful, to be rich. So, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be long, but you know, um, that's what I've got all the time in the world for. My time is literally going to be used for this, and you know, to add a bit more. I don't really want to go too deep into this, but fucking hell, how have I been here for 29 minutes? Um, I don't know whether to keep going or just stop now, but I don't know. Yeah, that's basically so much so far. So I'm just gonna leave it like this because I'm just gonna chat shit. Yeah. So I'll see you in a bit.